Welcome back to another fun-filled show. I'm your host. He is Blanchard, aka Free Blanch, aka Blanchstradamus, aka Blanchard Kruger. And today's title is The Black Man versus the Welfare System. Let me remove something real quick. Um, y'all give me 1 second. I gotta remove something real quick because this thing is in the way. I was trying to change some stuff up. Let's see, I'm gonna really have to revamp this room in this month. I'm trying to get a whole different thing in the back. Yeah, you feel me? You feel me? All right, here we go. What's up, y'all? I'm back. Okay, so today's title is The Black Man versus the Welfare System. What's up, A2R? What's up, Zoom 7K? What's up, Tierra? Today's title again is The Black Man versus the Welfare System. Now, it's been told to many Black people that the welfare system, i.e., the government, destroyed the Black family. Not most, all, when history is revisited, 99% of the time, it's revisited from a victim's perspective. If you listen to people talk about history, it's usually revisited from a victim's perspective. It's never visited or revisited from a neutral, objective point of view. It's always from a victim's point of view, which in my opinion discredits a lot of history that we've been taught. But when it comes to the Black man and the welfare system, it has been told to us that the welfare system, i.e., the government, destroyed the Black family. Now, anybody with any common sense would know that there's no way the government could destroy a family unless it was done by force. But I want to play this clip real quick and see what this guy has to say about the welfare system and the father being absent.
Decent living.
The man in the house rule was written to prevent welfare cheating, to make sure that aid to families with dependent children would go only to families headed by mothers. But the effect of the man in the house rule is to create for children an atmosphere of investigation and surveillance. And thus, the welfare system in its operation turns out to be a system to make life harder for children.
The welfare system helps the disintegration of the American family. It offers money to families if the fathers will leave them and stay away, in that sense undoing the very stability of the family and taking away one of the two parents the children, of course, need. And what I have seen, I'm afraid to say, all over the country is that the legal system works against the best kind of home for these children.
So you heard what he said and the narrator said, that basically the father not being in the household was intended for the aid that the state was giving or the government was giving to actually go to the mother and the children. Also, what he didn't say was that, and he said it, he said cheating. He actually did say, he said cheating. So we have two perspectives. The first perspective is the aid that the government is giving to the mother and her children is going strictly to the mother and their children. The second point is you don't want to be giving aid to a household that is also being taken care of by a man. So there's a twofold reason as to why they didn't want the man in the house. Now, you didn't have to take the welfare. You could have simply procreated with a man that wasn't going to be a sorry degenerate. But the problem is that these men were trifling and they were just laying up in the house. That was the issue. The men that were working, in my opinion, most men that work would not want to take welfare from the government if they were taking care. It'd be insulting. So the type of men they were talking about were the deadbeat black men. That's what they didn't want in the house, sucking up all the resources. So again, did the government destroy the black family? Absolutely not. The government exposed the black family being destroyed. Let's listen again.
Living.
The man in the house rule was written to prevent welfare cheating, to make sure that aid to families with dependent children would go only to families headed by mothers. But the effect of the man in the house rule is to create for children an atmosphere of investigation and surveillance. And thus, the welfare system in its operation turns out to be a system to make life harder for children.
There's a movie, and it's called, I think, Claudine. I didn't want to play the clip because it might give me a copyright strike. But anyways, if you go watch Claudine, there's a scene in the movie where the welfare worker is coming to visit. And guess who's in the house living there? A man. Guess what they do? She tells the children, hide the TV, and the dad goes and hides in the closet. The irony of the narrator talking about surveillance and being watched when Hollywood depicted black people literally doing what they were trying to prevent. Go watch Claudine. There was a man living in the house. She said, go hide in the closet and y'all hide the TV so we can look poorer. So again, they knew that black folks were finessing the system. They knew that. And now, years later, we revisit history from a victim's mentality, not as the culprit. At the end of the day, I don't agree with socialism at all. But if I was to be a socialist and I was giving you money and food to survive, then I'm not going to give you money and food to survive and take care of a grown man. I'm not taking care of women, children, and a grown man. So no. So in my opinion, the black man, this should have motivated black men to get a job. This should have motivated black men to want to take care of the household. This should have motivated black men to marry the woman they were with. This should have motivated black men to stop having children out of wedlock. This should have been a motivation for black men, but it's funny that it wasn't. It just gave them more excuses.
The welfare system helps the disintegration of the American family. It offers money to...
Now listen, I have somebody slow in the chat. And they said, that's not what the movie is about. And I clearly said there is a scene in the movie Claudine. I never said that was the point of the film. I said there was a scene in the movie. Matter of fact, there's two scenes where they go down to the welfare office. So dear person in the chat, when you are talking and leaving comments, make sure that your brain is functioning. If your brain is not functioning, this won't be the place for you. We deal with well thought out comments and well thought out statements. So again, I never said that was the point of the film. So if you're going to quote what I'm saying, do it correctly or go to the shade room. Go to a platform that doesn't require that many brain cells. But here we deal with intelligent people with intelligent commentary. Thank you.
The welfare system helps the disintegration of the American family. It offers money to families if the fathers will leave them and stay away, in that sense undoing the very stability of the family and taking away one of the two parents that children, of course, need. And
here goes the problem. He said taking away the parent. The man has the option to get a job and take care of his family. This whole narrative is when I say the black man is weak, you see it back even during the 50s and 60s. Why is the only option for the man to just leave the household? Why doesn't the man want to take care of his family? Why doesn't the man want to work? Why is the only option for the man to get out the house? He could have stayed and worked. He could have said, you know what? I want to be here with my wife and my children. I'm going to work. I'm going to find a job. Why was his recourse, his action, just to leave the house and fade into oblivion? Just for him to come back years later selling crack to the community. Isn't that funny? The black man left the house voluntarily just to come back selling crack to those same women and children. To those same women and children. And then blame the white man again. So let me get this straight. The white man made you abandon your family, and the white man made you sell dope. And then when I say the black man is weak, they get mad at me. The white man made you leave your family. The white man made you say your family dope. But when I call you weak, everybody says I'm the bad guy. I don't listen to y'all. I don't listen to y'all at all.
What I have seen, I'm afraid to say, all over the country is that the legal system works against the best kind of home for these children.
And the legal system does work against the family because you all have been conditioned to believe that socialism is what you are owed, when in fact nobody owes you anything. The problem with black people in America is that they have a victim's perspective. That is the problem. That's the problem. Black people love a story where someone's being taken advantage of. Black people hate a story where someone is triumphant, not falling back on excuses. This is why in the black communities, the movies that do the best are the ones filled with drama and foolishness. Black folks don't like movies like Top Gun and Rocky and all. They don't like the kind of black people like movies and shows dealing with drama, dealing with somebody being done wrong, some foolishness. That's how you entertain black people. You entertain white folks with movies like Red Dawn, Commando. All the white films deal with being triumphant, Lord of the Rings. Movies dealing with defeating dragons and fighting gargoyles. That's what white folks like to see. Triumph, conquering, winning. Black folks want to see, what's that latest Tyler Perry film where she was in the bank? I think it was called The Straw. The woman goes into the bank and it's just her daughter is sick and daughter need medication. She got fired from the job. The job got just a bunch of foolishness. And black folks love it. Black people love and believe anything that puts them in the victim seat. But not here, though. Not here. We shatter all the narratives, all of them. The Bible says that God gives every man a measure of faith. Every man has a measure of faith. Let me get to this. I'll play one more clip and then I'm going to get to this YouTube video that Angel Wing sent me. But I actually have a few clips on this. But let's get into it.
Been down to the welfare department and talked to them, or has your husband?
No, so the last time I went to the welfare, the lady told me, said that if you have a living husband, that they couldn't give you no help.
Even if he's not working?
Yes.
3 weeks after talking to Dr. Wheeler, Mrs. Zanders gave birth to a severely malnourished.
You been down to the welfare department and talked to them, or has your husband?
No, so the last time I went to the welfare, the lady told me, said that if you have a living husband, that they couldn't give you no help.
Even if he's not working?
Yes.
3 weeks after talking to Dr.
Why would they give her help if her husband is working? Think about what he just said, even if he's working. Why would they give you assistance if your husband is working? The purpose of this socialism, well, not the purpose, you know what I mean, but the purpose of it in this sense is to provide what you cannot provide for yourself, i.e. shelter and food. If the man is leading the household and working, it's his job to provide the shelter and the food. I don't know how that got lost in the Black community. Where did that come from? I'll tell you where it came from. It came from a victim mentality. It came from someone like Martin Luther King telling you that you were deprived, and you were neglected, and you were left behind. And instead of you saying, I reject that, I rebuke that, you all bought into it hook, line, and sinker.
Wheeler, Mrs. Zanders gave birth to a severely malnourished baby. 2 days later, the baby died. Alabama's solution to hunger in 15 counties is the federal food stamp program. The U.S. Department of Agriculture sponsors the program, but
what I find interesting, now this is how you know this is propaganda. Does she look malnourished?
2 days later, the baby died.
Does she look...
After talking to Dr. Wheeler, Mrs. Zanders gave birth to a severely malnourished baby.
Now I want you to look at her stomach. I'm trying to find her. I want you to look at her stomach. What do you see? What do you see in her stomach? Now, he just said the baby was malnourished and she lost the baby. So why is she pregnant again? Look at her stomach. Look at her. Okay, let me try to find another angle for you if y'all can't see it. Look at it. I'm trying to show you. You see how her dress is going out? Now listen, now, if you can't afford to have a child, then why would you keep having children? That doesn't make any sense. If you can't afford to have a child, then stop having children. Again, where did Black people lose their common sense? She's in this video talking about he said she lost the baby because the baby was malnourished. Does she look malnourished? So if you're having children and they're being born malnourished and dying, then why do you keep having children? You should wait until you are better to provide for yourself and the child. But the fact that she's pregnant again lets you know they're just lying. That baby didn't die from being malnourished. That ain't why that baby died. If the baby even died at all, if it's even true. These folks been lying for a long time.
Severely malnourished baby. 2 days later, the baby died. Alabama's solution to hunger in 15 counties is the federal food stamp program. The U.S. Department of Agriculture sponsors the program, but it is administered locally by the states and counties. Each county has a central office where the stamps are sold. Food stamps are a means of giving a family a bonus. For a cash payment, $25 for instance, a family receives food stamps worth much more money.
So basically, how this would work was you would give them cash and they would give you the food stamps. But the goal was so that you would use the food stamps to actually just buy the food. And we know, and everybody knows now that Black people didn't honor this, because today Black folks sell their food stamps all the time. We know this. So let's not act like what they were doing was wrong, because Black folks selling their food stamps still today. My mom worked for the state of California and we had food stamps. So I mean, what are we talking about? My mother worked for the state of California and we had literally everything that everybody, if my mom worked and we had all the welfare stuff, we had the cheese, we had everything. Food stamps, we had everything. So I know how Black folks operate when the government giving out free stuff. I know, my mom used to, take that powdered milk and put it in the tub and take a milk bath. Well, I remember like it was yesterday. So we know how Black folks do the welfare system. Now listen, Tierra said cabinet full of dishes. Now listen, I don't agree with welfare because I don't agree with socialism. I don't agree with handouts or being taken care of. I don't. if somebody falls on hard times, then really that should be up to the community to help them out, in my opinion. But the government doing it, it's always going to be bad. But black people have not learned that expanding the federal government, relying on the federal government is going to be a problem. It's going to be problematic. And you can't convince black folks otherwise. No, I didn't take a milk bath. I mean, I was a child. I didn't care about it. That didn't make any sense to me, a milk bath. My mom did, though. I did. I didn't do a milk bath. But let's continue. Right, Corey. 200 in food stamps, 100 U.S. currency. So again, these people were trying to take measures to keep this welfare system honest, and black folks to this day was hustling the system. Even my mom, even my mother. I'm like, man, why I gotta go to the store with these food stamps? We ain't on welfare. Imagine me not even on welfare, getting ridiculed for having food stamps. I'm like, I ain't even on welfare. It was crazy. It was crazy. But anyway, I remember back in the day, you can go get your, you can go get your parents' cigarette. Not now. When I was a kid, you can go and get your parents' cigarettes. No problem. My mom used to have me going to the little, in the hood, like little corner stores in the hood, little liquor store / corner stores. My mom would have me going getting the pads, the cigarettes. It was a lot. But let's continue. Let's continue.
Because Perry Homes was planned on a minimum budget, there are few places for children to play. Because of the same kind of planning, Perry Homes has no doctor, no dentist, no pharmacy.
Now imagine where Perry, this is in Atlanta, Perry Homes is, but bad projects. But imagine building a housing project that's already cheap, and you want to provide and you want them to have a doctor, like look at what he just said. This is what he just said. Hold up.
Because Perry Homes was planned on a minimum budget, there are few places for children to play. Because of the same kind of planning, Perry Homes has no doctor, no dentist, no pharmacy.
Now, think about what he just said. He said Perry Homes doesn't have a doctor, dentist, and pharmacy. But there's a bunch of doctors and dentists and pharmacies right around the corner. So you mean to tell me you want the doctor, you want the dentist, you want the pharmacy, you want the cheap housing, you want the food? Like, God, my goodness. Look at what they want, everything to be handed to them. This is black people. And look at the quote of this video. Welfare is cut off if there's a man in the house. Fathers are often driven away so that the mother and children can eat. So here's my question for you all. What is a man doing in a house and the woman and the children aren't eating? What is he doing? I'm going to read the quote again. Hopefully the person's still in the chat. Welfare is cut off if there's a man in the house. Fathers are often driven away so that the mother and children can eat. What is the man doing if he's in the house, able-bodied, and the woman is starving and the children are starving? What is he doing? I'll tell you what he's doing. He's being a bum. I'll tell you what he's doing. He's being a rat bum. You see, when I say the black man is weak, I have historical facts and proof to back it up. You mean to tell me the women and children are starving and you in the house doing what? What are you doing? I know you're not praying. What are you doing? I'll tell you, you're being a bum. Thank you, Tierra. Why isn't a garden planted in the back? Right, God is birth control. Let's continue.
Nearby there is a well baby clinic, but no sick baby clinic. and the sick must travel 12 miles to wait for attention at Grady Memorial Hospital. And partly because of the general rule that welfare is cut off if there is a man in the house, fathers are often driven away so that mother and children can eat.
Again, nothing can drive you away from your family except cowardice. The only thing that can drive a man away from his family is cowardice. History is told from the victim's perspective. History is most often told from the victim's perspective. If you are in a household and your women and the woman and the children are starving, you are the man, that is on you, not Uncle Sam. So the fact that Black men took the cowardly route speaks volume as to why the Black community is in shambles. It's not in shambles because of welfare. It's in shambles because the men were weak. My grandfather didn't do it. My grandfather went to the 4th grade of elementary school. My grandfather dropped out of school in the 4th grade. And he wasn't illiterate, highly intelligent, self-taught. So again, if I take the tail of the tape from, let's say, my father and my uncle, my father, full of excuses. My uncle didn't make any excuses. One very successful, one was a failure. It's just that simple. Did my father have the ability to, as my uncle? Yes. So when we talk about welfare, and today's title is The Black Man versus the Welfare System. And when we talk about welfare, we have to be honest. And the reason why welfare, quote unquote, destroyed the Black family is because the Black man was weak. He was a coward. Just off a general principle, I'm not going to let somebody else take care of my wife or my children. Just off of general principle, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather us all starve and die in the house together than let somebody come in and take care of my wife or my woman and my children, and I'm out roaming the streets. When you find us, we all going to be huddled up in the closet somewhere, starved to death. What you're not going to find is the government coming in and taking over my responsibilities as a man. The Black man is weak. And we have historical evidence to back it up.
85% of the head of household is a woman, because most of the men who should be in the household, they cannot make a decent living. And of course it is better to know that a child will be fed 12 months out of the year than 3 months, which during the summer when construction work you can make a decent living.
The man in the house rule was written to prevent welfare cheating, to make sure that aid to families with dependent children would go only to families headed by mothers. But the effect of the man in the house rule is to create for children an atmosphere of investigation and surveillance. And thus, the welfare system in its operation turns out to be a system to make life harder for children.
So again, let me go to YouTube real quick. Let me go to YouTube. And there's this guy on Instagram. He trying to tag everybody in this video. He trying to tag everybody. But what's funny is, can't nobody that comes on this channel argue a single thing I'm saying. They're going to tell you the white man did this, the white man. They're not going to be able to argue a single thing that I'm saying right now. They're not. Because if you admit If you admit to the welfare tearing the family up, then you got to admit the man was weak. Because the welfare didn't tear the white folks' family up. They was on welfare. It didn't tear the Hispanics' family up. They was on welfare. Isn't it funny how everybody was using welfare, it only tore up one family? You know why? Because the black man is weak. That's why. But let's continue.
The problems of the Ortizes are similar to those of welfare families in other cities. Los Angeles, Denver, Chicago, Detroit.
I have never received my check on time. Now, they say they put them out, but now, like yesterday, it's supposed to have been here yesterday, and it didn't arrive, and I'm waiting today for it. Now, 2 weeks ago, it was supposed to have been on a Friday, so it didn't arrive. So I waited Saturday until the mailman went by. Still no check. So I called down there for an emergency order like they told me to. There is no such thing as emergency order on a weekend. So in other words, my children went without food from Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, until Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Now, you know she lying. Ain't no way in the world her children didn't eat for no 3 days. Stop. There's no way in the world. And she's white, so we got a white woman on welfare. Like I said before, the welfare didn't destroy nobody else's family except the black family. But she on here trying to tell you all that her children didn't eat. She got small babies, didn't eat for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They didn't eat till Monday afternoon. Cap. This is all propaganda. My question is, for anybody listening, if you can't afford to feed the children that you have, why do you keep having them? Can someone answer that question? Can someone riddle me this? If you can't afford your children, why do you keep having more? I'll tell you why. Because in actuality, you can't afford your children. That's why you keep having them. Now, what are we talking about? This is a white family on welfare, and she complaining about her check not coming on time. So again, why didn't the welfare system destroy the white family, the Hispanic family, the immigrant family, the Asian family? Why didn't the welfare system destroy anybody else's family except black people? Let's continue.
Mrs. Jane Wilson is a Detroit welfare mother. The premise of the ADC program is simple, that children without visible means of support must be aided by the state. But to be eligible, a mother and her children must be without a man in the house.
So, without a man in the house was applied to the white families too. Without a man in the house was applied to the white families too. There is nobody you can bring up to talk to me that's going to be able to refute what I'm saying. Everybody had the same rules. And again, this woman right here, and it's not race, it's culture. She got the same mentality as the black woman. I'm going to keep having children because y'all going to keep on paying me. Ain't no man around. But you know what? Let's hear what she got to say. Let's hear what she, because right now, she already sounds like a black woman talking about my check, my money ain't on time. So let's see what she got to say.
My husband left me in September, and then I went down to the emergency shelter, welfare shelter, and then I had to go through the welfare, fill out all these papers, drag all 5 kids on the bus, go down there, sit there and wait for 3-4 hours until they come around to you. I felt like...
So her husband left. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Listen to me. Hear me out. Her husband left her with 5 kids. Now, you know, back in the day, when the husband got fed up, he was, I'm going for some cigarettes, honey. She like, you don't even smoke. You hear the door slam. Like, listen, back in these times, them men was, listen, they wasn't arguing. They were just gone. They just started a whole new life. I'm not, and it's not right. I'm just saying, he left her with 5 children. Now, I'm gonna say this. Judging by what I'm seeing with her, she is a literal foot dragger. She's a foot dragger. You know, a foot dragger is a person that drags their feet. They don't want to do nothing. She is a literal foot dragger. She is not he should have never got her in the first place. He should have never got with her in the first place, and he sure shouldn't have had no 5 children with her. That's on him. I blame him. But again, even in the white family, though, the man left, he gone. But in the black family, he in the closet when they come by or under the bed. Let's continue.
Like the lowest thing on earth when I went to the welfare. I felt like they were all better than me, that they could walk all over me, which I got down on my hands and knees to them and begged them for coats and boots for these children at wintertime. I actually got down on my hands and knees, and you can ask anybody down at that office. I actually got down on my hands and knees and begged them. And you know what? And when I went down there, sure, they gave me the coats and boots. Sure, after you get down on your hands and knees and you beg, that's the only way you're going to get anything from the welfare.
Now you see the little. Now they told you that the white people was racist and they hate, but you see the little white girl. Her friend is black. Now you see that. Now you see they got a little friend. Her daughter's friend is black. Now they told you that the white people hate the black folks and all this, but I told y'all this culture. The little white girl got a black friend. This back now. You see the time period now. This is the 50s and 60s, probably the 50s. But you saw what she said. I had to get on my hands and knees and beg for a whole winter wardrobe. I had to get on my hands and knees and beg for a whole winter wardrobe. So let me get this straight. You want the rent paid, you want the food stamps, you want the medical, and you want the clothes? You want the rent paid, the food stamps, the medical, and you want clothes. I told y'all she was a foot dragger. I told y'all she was a foot dragger. I told you. The best you could do is go down to the welfare office and beg. You ain't gotta beg them people. You a woman, you a single woman with 5 children. You are a poster child for the welfare office. You didn't have to beg. You are a woman with 5 children and no man around. You are a poster child for the welfare office. Come on. Please come on.
And to this day, I have never gotten anything from the welfare for myself.
She said, I never got anything from the welfare office for myself. So let me get this straight. You want these people to give you the rent paid, the food, the medical, the clothes, and a gift for you? She want the rent, the food, the medical, the clothes, and she wants something for herself. Boy, it's a cold game. It's a cold game. Don't let this cold world get you down. Don't let this cold world get you down. Cold world get you down. But it's a cold world. Let's continue.
Breakfast in the home of Carol King, a Cleveland welfare mother with 9 children. On the days before the welfare...
Stop, 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 stop. Do you know how hard it is to take care of 5 children when both parents got a job? And I know it was like, they were cheaper back then, but it's expensive to take care of 5 children, even if the dad was working. Even if the father was working, that's still a tough task, taking care of 5 children and the wife. This woman right here has 9 children. This woman has 9 children, and they want you to believe that the welfare system destroyed the black family. 9 children. Even if the man was in the house and he was working 2 jobs, do you know how hard it would be to take care of 11 people, 9 children, and 2 adults? You see, the problem is that these people were having children like they were rich. That's the problem. You're having children like you're rich. 9 children? Come on. Come on. Let's continue.
Their check arrives. There is half an orange for each child.
Well, you know he's lying because we just saw a couple children eating a whole apple. So the little baby got an orange, but we saw children eating apples and oranges. So the only way they can make this sound good is if they lie. She has 9 children, and I think I see a wedding ring on her finger too. I think I see a wedding ring on her finger too.
Mrs. King has become involved in the welfare rights movement because she feels she doesn't get enough money to raise her family. She gets less than 80 cents a day for each of her children. The Ohio legislature approves only 3/4 of the amount that the state welfare department felt was a minimum necessity in 1959.
What's the matter?
The rise of ADC recipients in the last 6 years has been particularly dramatic among Negro families in the northern ghettos. Giving aid only when a husband is absent pushes the man out of the house.
Stop. Stop. So, again, this woman keeps having children. If the man is not able to provide for you and the children, why do you keep having children with him? Everybody wants to skirt around this moral issue. Now, she has a wedding ring on her finger. And I told you all that black people were finessing the welfare system. The man was probably working or hustling, doing whatever, and he was living in the house, and they was getting the hustle money or the work money, and they was getting the money from the welfare from the state. They were doing both. Because there has to be a man around somewhere for you to have 9 children. This is crazy. All the children have clothes. So we're gonna look at this 2 ways. Either the state was giving you enough money to take care of you and 9 children, or you weren't getting enough money from the state and there was a man giving you money to take care of you and the 9 children. One of the two. It's one of those 2. But you are feeding and clothing and taking care of 9 children. And you got enough time to serve on the Welfare Rights Board. And you got time to serve on the Welfare Rights Board. Let's continue. Jesse Lee said maybe she left her husband for the government. Let's continue.
His presence is an economic hardship, and a whole class of women and children are growing up in the northern ghettos knowing neither husband nor father, only dependence on welfare. Life on welfare means waiting in line for food stamps, as for everything else.
You mean to tell me, listen what they're saying. So you mean to tell me that, and they keep mentioning wait, we have to wait. So you mean to tell me you want to get your rent taken care of, you want to get your money, you want to get your food, you want to get your medical, and you want it done immediately? Let me get this straight. You want everything in your life to be taken care of, but you don't even want to wait in line for it? You got to wait in line to get on the bus or get on the train. You got to wait in line at the amusement park to get on a ride. Like, you got to wait in line to get into the club. Like, you got to wait in line. So y'all are telling me y'all are so entitled and so privileged that y'all don't even want to have to wait for the free money and the free food and the free clothes. It's a cold game. Don't let this cold world get you down. Mm-hmm.
After getting her welfare check each month, Mrs. King's first stop is a food stamp center in the heart of Huff, Cleveland's Negro ghetto. She pays $110 for $158 worth of food stamps, which must be spent only on food. The idea is that the state guides the spending of welfare mothers, and the women resent the implicit moral judgment that they don't have the capacity to care properly for their children.
How is that a moral judgment when you keep having children that you can't take care of? Why would I trust you? Why would I trust you if you keep having children that you can't take care of? Why would I trust you with some free money? You don't make good decisions. You don't make good decisions. Why would I trust you? Let's continue.
We are bitter because we are faced with trying to raise children without money. People on welfare, if they had money enough to at least exist on, I'm not saying, because I don't have a college diploma, that I should have, $300 a week, but I'm saying that people on welfare have a right to a decent living in a rich country like America. And, like we can always, send charity overseas. And it's, for years, we've been in poverty as a country. And that I'm concerned with, a country that, gets concerned with hunger in India, but is not concerned with hunger in the United States.
Now, does she sound like she's speaking for herself, or does she sound like she's working with the communists? Does she sound like she's speaking for herself, or does she sound like she is working with the communists? She said the perfect script. Capitalism, I'm paraphrasing, capitalism bad, America so rich, they care about aid to other countries, but not poverty in America. Does it sound like she's speaking for herself because she don't have a college diploma, her words? Does it sound like she's speaking for herself, or does it sound like she's working with the communists? Jesse Lee says she's a thief. Tierra says she's a commie. JV Chanel said men will laugh with anything. Lord forgive me, but come on, man. She got, listen, not just laugh with anything. She got 9 children. She has 9 children. That means that's beyond laying up. That means he didn't sit there and found a home. Whoever it is, it might be multiple. They live in there at this point. They ain't laying up. They living inside her. Let's continue.
They talk about planning for a future. You have to first have something to plan with. You don't plan a meal, unless you got, something to eat. And you don't plan a future unless you have something to plan with. And this is what, society's going to have to face. They're talking about future America. And, our kids are part of that future society. And, and to deprive them from the time that they're, babies, now they say, work with 16-year-olds. That's crazy. A 16-year-old, it's too late.
Growing up without enough money is hard enough, but there are
Y'all was wearing them wigs back then. Y'all was wearing them wigs back then. She is too young to have that mess on her head. And that's an old school wig. That's an old alley cat fur wig. She is too young to have that mess on her head. Y'all was wearing them wigs back then.
other cold realities about growing up on ADC. Welfare kids usually live in neighborhoods like Cleveland's Huff. They can see the results of violence, even murder, around their own homes. And they must learn to live with it.
I got a question. Dear Black people, how did y'all find time to do all this crime, but y'all was supposed to be starving? Dear Black people, how did you all find the time to do all of this crime and y'all was supposed to be in the house starving? Y'all didn't have enough food. Y'all didn't have enough clothes. Like, how would y'all find the time to do all this stuff? Because what I've been told is that y'all was barely holding on, barely making it, dying of starvation. How was y'all able to go out in the street and have block parties? Y'all want to tell me everybody in the community is poor, but y'all outside drinking and having a good time with the music playing. Nah, that ain't Jesse Lee. I think that's somebody just saying their name Jesse Lee. That ain't the real Jesse Lee. Right. Right. Well, it's funny because now you right, King Cole, because now I guarantee this area now it's expensive. I guarantee this area right now that y'all tore this area up back then. This area is tore up in the 50s and 60s. This area has been tore up since the 50s. Look at this in the 50s or 60s. I want to say probably late 50s. But the neighborhood's already in shambles. So this is well before the 80s. This is well before the crack era.
Hate to see these second generations of welfare coming up. And one of the things I think is more crucial to is the youth that's in the ghetto, because most of the youth that's coming up, they're ashamed to tell their buddies, say, well, yeah, we on welfare, we getting ADC or food stamps and things like this here.
Everybody in my whole neighborhood was on relief. We used to run around and kid about it. Because everybody in my neighborhood was on relief, but I was ashamed to go out my neighborhood and tell somebody I was on ADC. Yeah, ashamed of it.
If a child does not have adequate clothing, they don't want to go.
I want you to look at, oh man, what did I just do? Oh.
More than he been with. The marriage.
Yeah.
Mother, what do you think?
If they can't participate and go to
see food stamps and things like this here.
Everybody in my whole neighborhood was on relief. We used to run around and kid about it. Because everybody in my neighborhood was on relief, but I was ashamed to go out my neighborhood and tell somebody I was on ADC.
So, if y'all noticed in this clip, let me play it a little bit more. Let me play it a little bit more.
Yeah, same number. If a child does not.
Now, I want you to look at what I told you all before to look at. I want you to look at all of the children of all races playing with each other. I want you to look at, we've seen clips before in this same documentary. All these, you got white children, look like black, Hispanic, all the children of all the races playing with each other. They never show you this footage. They never show you the footage of all these children playing together. Where's all the racism? Where's all the hate? All the division? Where's the white man terrorizing everybody? How is it in poverty, these children can able to play with each other? How is it that the white people don't hate the black people don't hate the Hispanic? How is it nobody hates each other? All the children are playing with each other, having a good time. No problem. Yeah, this is from Angel. This video's from Angel.
Have adequate clothing. They don't want to go. If they can't participate and go to the football games and to the movies, they don't want to go to school.
Now, you saw the black boy right here slapping a little white boy in the head. I didn't say it was going to be fair play.
If a child does not have adequate clothing, they don't want to go. If they can't participate and go to the football games and to the movies, they don't want to go to.
Now, you see him slapping the white boy with a little spat. So listen, I didn't say it was going to be fair play. I just said they was playing together. But you know, the bliggity going to be the bliggity. He going to be, but they still playing together.
School. So it starts when a child is small. They recognize the fact that they don't have the things that other children have. Children realize when they're different. They know, I don't care how small you are, you know when you're different. And not only that, when you go to the public schools, many times the teachers make you know that you're different.
How would these children know they were different if everybody in the community is in the same circumstance? Honestly, like, how would these children know that they were different from each other if everybody in the community is in the same circle? They all live in the same conditions. They all live in the same buildings. Like, how would they think they were different? They just make up stuff. Let's continue. What did I overlook? What did I let fly? Right, Paul, they all on welfare. Like what? Like, what are they doing? They all on welfare. It's just crazy. But let's continue. Is some trolls on here?
Welfare children don't have, I was not able to buy, white shirts for ties and things. If a mother go out like I do, I buy my child these knit sweaters and bandana sweaters and things like that. And he wear them with his pants. But Friday, he got to wear a shirt and a tie. And I just don't have it. They have sent my child home twice, last year for not being dressed in a tie. And I mean,
Okay. So they sent your child home twice for not wearing a tie. So was he wearing a tie the other time? That's what it sounds like. It sounds like your child has a tie to wear, and he wore them because he only got sent home twice. You see, when they talk, they tell on themselves because it's not a contextualized message that they're giving. They're giving you an emotional message. If he only got sent home twice in an entire school year, that means the majority of the time he wasn't getting sent home. That means that he was wearing his tie. That means that you was lazy one morning, or he was lazy, and when y'all got up, you didn't feel like putting the tie on. That's all. Or he lost the tie, couldn't find it. That's all. But to say that you can't afford a tie is a lie, because by your own admission, you only got sent home. He only got sent home twice in one school year. Let's continue.
Made me real mad, and I called the principal and told him, I said, look, my child ain't got no shirt and ties. Now, if you want to have one, you buy him one.
I thought black folks couldn't talk to white folks like that. This is from 1967, you all. I'm sorry. This is from 1967. I thought that black folks couldn't talk to white folks like that. Make sure I heard it correctly.
I buy my child these knit sweaters and bandana sweaters and things like that. And he wear them with his pants. But Friday, he got to wear a shirt and a tie. And I just don't have it. They have sent my child home twice, last year for not being dressed in a tie. And I mean, it made me real mad. And I called the principal and told him, I said, look, my child ain't got no shirt and ties. Now, if you want to have one, you buy him one.
I thought that black people couldn't talk to the white man like that. Y'all told me that black folks was getting oppressed. They were terrified. This woman told the principal, you want to wear it, you better get it one. Why is she so bold? The white man is racist, America racist. Why is this black woman so bold? Thank you, Neek. Where are all the lynchings at? Thought they were getting chased down, strung up. So in this school, we got the white children with the black children. Everybody seems to be getting along, drinking the same milk. Let's continue.
Even in school, constant and subtle discriminations are made between welfare children and other youngsters. To qualify for most free services, such as milk, a pupil must be on welfare, and thus declares himself a welfare child.
Now, if you all believe, do y'all believe that only the welfare kids get the milk? Do you all believe that only the welfare children get the milk? Think about what he just said. They know you're on welfare because you get the milk, as if all the kids in the classroom ain't drinking the milk. Now, you may get free milk, but all the children can get some milk. You may have to pay for your milk and I get mine free, but everybody gets milk. Like, it's not just the welfare kids get the milk. Thank you, Neek. Other children had their 5 cents. Listen, I remember, may she rest in peace, my Aunt Betty just passed away last month. But I remember I went to go stay with her my sophomore year in high school. And I remember I was getting free lunch. I don't know how I was getting free lunch, but I was excited to get free lunch because I was getting $60 a month allowance. So my allowance was $60 a month, so I get to keep all my money. So I was happy to get the free lunch. So, I'm balling $60 a month. My aunt worked for the school system. She was a teacher. She worked for the school system. She worked for Atlanta Public Schools. She was calling the board writing the board. I'm talking about going hard. And by that second semester, after winter break, I had to pay for my lunch, pay for my breakfast. Boy, I was so mad. Boy, I was so hot. Boy, I was so. Think about it. That's like two something a day. Let's say I'm spending $250 a day. That adds up for a month. I'm only getting 60. That adds up for the month. I'm only getting 60. And my mom was sending the $60 a month. What's a cold game? It's a cold game. Ooh, I was hot. And she told me, you don't need free lunch. We ain't on welfare. We ain't poor. We. She started speaking French when it come to my money getting spent. Now we speaking French. We ain't on welfare. We ain't poor. Let's continue.
Teacher would tell everybody, the kids, about him being on welfare, and he didn't want them to know he was on welfare.
Either one or two things going on here. Either the majority of these children are on welfare, or the majority are not. But you can't have it both ways. The only way this would be embarrassing is if the majority of children weren't on welfare. So are you saying, ma'am, that the majority of children in this school are not on welfare? That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the majority of children are not on welfare. That's only it would be embarrassing. When I was getting free lunch, it wasn't embarrassing because a bunch of kids got free lunch. It wasn't embarrassing at all. So the fact that it was embarrassing now lets me know that the majority of these black kids in this school weren't on free lunch. They weren't on welfare, which goes ahead and shatters the notion of the black family being destroyed. The majority of black families weren't on welfare. So there's no way that welfare could have destroyed the black family. If you listen to these people talk, they're going to reveal the truth to you because they're not talking from a truthful place or a factual place. They're talking from a place of emotion. It's propaganda. They're trying to deceive you and trick you.
That lunch card they give him, it's on a special lunch that he get for welfare children, and it's not enough. They don't get no kind of dessert with it or ice cream, and I always have to give him more money to go with it.
So let me get this straight. She said it's not enough. she said it's not enough because he don't get a dessert and ice cream. I thought y'all was starving. I thought y'all was starving. I thought y'all couldn't afford any food. How's your appetite for a dessert? How are you giving him extra money for dessert? That ain't what your money's supposed to be spent on. That is not what your money is supposed to be spent on, ma'am. You are supposed to get the basic food groups as a meal. So you telling me y'all are starving at home, but you want your children to have dessert at school. Come on, it's cap. It's a lie. Paul said the kid's so poor, but the girls got perms. All the boys got haircuts, all the girls got perms, but they starving at home. D. Elliott said greedy and ungrateful. Thank you. Greedy and ungrateful. J.V. Chanel said they were really feeding us anything. That square pizza and that chocolate milk, that corn. Listen, when I tell you the public school lunch was horrific. I went to public school for 1 year and one summer school session. All my other schooling was in private school. I only knew about public school lunches by going to public school And also, there was this program in the summertime called NYSP, the National Youth Sports Program, and they would also give us those type of lunches in the camp. But yeah, that square pizza was good. Though, I ain't gonna lie. That pizza, you fold that pizza up, shoot. It was always like pizza, corn, and chocolate milk. Like pizza, corn, chocolate milk, and some kind of fruit. Crazy. Anyway, let's continue.
They ain't gonna give but a handful of crumbs to a mother. What do you think the young teenager gonna do? Why do you think that's down here on Huff? Because when it gets dark, they have to go out here and survive.
Y'all see, they was fast back then. They ain't twerking, but they irking. They ain't twerking, but they working. It ain't a twerk, but it's a work. They was fast back then. They was fast back then.
This is survival and escape in Huff.
This man just said that this is survival and escape in Huff. I thought y'all was starving. How did y'all find energy to dance and have a good time, but you're supposed to be starving at home? Y'all told me that the white man was rounding y'all up, stringing y'all up, lynching y'all. Y'all told me y'all was starving. Y'all told me systemic oppression. Y'all told me poor living conditions, but somehow, some way, y'all able to go to the little juke joint and party and dance. Notice that all the children's clothes in there are clean. Notice that all the children's clothes in there are clean. No dirty clothes. No wrinkled clothes.
Music, movement, and this moment. But in the morning, no job that will pay a living wage.
So let me get this straight. Y'all are able to party at night with nice clothes. You know you're eating and drinking. So you're able to eat and drink and party at night and dance in nice clothes. But in the morning, you become like Cinderella. All that stuff disappears. So it's like some magical fairy baby mama godmother, and she blesses you at night to be able to go out there and party. But in the morning, that glass slipper is gone and you back to poverty and struggling and suffering and starving. That's basically what he just said. He said they can have fun at night, have a good time, and escape in nice clothes and everything, hair done nice clothes, looking clean, looking fresh, having a great time. But then in the morning, it all goes back to normal, like Cinderella. I guess in this case, like Spinderella. Here's what they want y'all to believe. It's propaganda. I'm gonna stop on this video at 6:16, and I'm going to my other videos. But I'm gonna do a part 2, maybe even a part 3. But I'm gonna stop at 6:16 right here. I'm gonna stop at 6:16. But let's continue. Let's continue.
The policy and the housing authority was to move the poorest of the poor, the most dependent families, to Pruitt-Igoe.
before we moved into Pruitt-Igoe, the welfare department came to our home. They talked with my mother about moving into the housing project, but the stipulation was that my father could not be with us. They would put us into the housing project only if he left the state. My mother.
Only if he left the state. Only if he left the state. What? So, what Black people are revealing to you all is that the welfare system didn't look favorably at able-bodied men not working. So they said, here are the stipulations. And in life, there's a give and take. So if you want to be around an able-bodied man, then he should be taking care of you. If he's around you, not taking care of you, then you can't have our assistance. The assistance was in lieu of a man. It wasn't to be an addition to a man. This ain't polygamy. This ain't where the woman got two husbands. I don't know what that's called, but this ain't where you got two spouses. So it was an either or. Either the Black man is going to be a responsible man with character and integrity and take care of his family, or you're going to let us do it. But you're not going to get both. You're not going to get both. So why would they create a housing project? And we know this is a lie because we know that housing projects were filled with married couples. We know that's a lie. But let's just go with her lie. If the lie is true, that they say it can only be for women and children, then why wouldn't the man say, I don't want my family separated and I'm going to take care of the family? Come on.
Mother and father discussed it, and they decided that it was best for the 12 children for the father to leave the home.
You have 12 children. So what this is showing is the lack of character in the Black community. If you can't take care of the first child or the second child, how are you able to have 10 more? Okay, let's agree, y'all. Let's agree on something. If you have 12 children, you have to be able to take care of them. So how are you able to take care of 12 children? How, if you're impoverished, you're poor, you don't have anything, how are you still able to take care of 12 children? Money has to be coming from somewhere. Somebody has to be doing something. Somebody has to be doing something for you to have 12 children. Matter of fact, to keep having children, somebody has to be doing something. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. Somebody is lying. We done went from 5 children to 9 children to 12 children, but y'all are telling me you can't take care of the children. Then why do you keep having children? Listen, if y'all lived on a farm, it makes sense. Children are labor. If y'all lived in a rural area, it would make sense. Children are labor. Y'all living in urban environments, having all of these children. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Paul said his grandparents took care of 12 kids. So again, we saw in many instances where black families were able to take care of a large number of children. So I'm going to conclude that the reason why black people did not want to do this, take care of their children, because they were lazy and didn't want to do it. It was a choice. To get on welfare was a choice. Because you're telling me that if you keep having children, what you're telling the world is, I can take care of these children. That's what that means. That's what that means.
And that's how we got into the projects. The welfare department had a rule that no able-bodied man could be in the house if a woman received aid for dependent children. If a man lost his job, if he's looking for work, he still had to leave the home. And there was even a night staff of men who worked for the welfare department whose job was to go to the homes of the welfare recipients, and they searched to find if there was a man in the home.
Think about how rampant it was for these folks to be breaking these rules, for these people to have a night shift to catch y'all slipping. Think about how rampant, they always talk about the man not being in the home, but they never talk about how y'all was breaking this rule. And again, the purpose of it was for a man to not be laying up in the house, or for y'all to be cheating where the man is working and you're getting government assistance. That was the purpose. Because clearly, these black people could take care of their children. Why? Because they kept having children. The money was coming from somewhere, the food was coming from somewhere, the clothes coming from somewhere. This woman said her father left when there was 12 children. He didn't leave because of welfare, ma'am. He left for peace of mind. Ma'am, he did not leave because of welfare. He left for a peace of mind. Trust me. He taking care of 12 children. He said, I'm going to leave. I'm going for some cigarettes, honey. But baby, you don't smoke. Boom. Door shut. Hey, I want to get some peanuts. But you're allergic to peanuts. So, ma'am, your father left because of 12 children.
Sometimes men came back at night to be with their families. Some were found in the closet hiding.
Told you they was breaking the rules. I told you they were breaking the rules. I told you. It was running rampant, breaking these rules, trying to cheat the system like they do today. Black folks do the same thing today with the welfare. Think about it. All these years later, and Trump got to get on TV and say enough's enough. All these years later, and y'all still doing the same thing. And white folks probably doing it too. I ain't making it about race, just about culture.
Are teenage pregnancies. There's not a predestined amount of teenage pregnancy. I grew up in an era when people, and particularly blacks, were a lot poorer than today, faced a lot more discrimination than today, and in which the teenage pregnancy rate was a lot lower than today. I don't believe there is a predestined amount of teenage pregnancy, a predestined amount of husband desertion. Gutman has done a study of the black family showing that this whole notion that the black family has always been disintegrating, that is nonsense, that his studies go up to 1925, the great bulk of black families were intact, two-parent families up through 1925, and going all the way back through the era of slavery. So it is now only within our own time that we suddenly see this inevitable tragedy which the welfare system says it's going to rush in to solve, but which it is itself a part.
We're talking about a very small group. We're talking about 12% of the families are not.
He's trying to tell her that this disintegration of the black family has happened in our time, in this modern era, from this socialism. And I believe he was getting to that point. It's the socialism that's destroying these families. That it wasn't did the families just on their own. It's you implementing policies or introducing or offering ways to, in my opinion, promote the decadence. Because you think about it, black families still could have just said no. Black families could have said no. The man could have said no. He didn't want to say no. He did not want to say no.
Find that married couple families were much more prevalent among blacks then than today. Most black kids grew up in homes with two parents under slavery itself and for generations thereafter. And as late as the 1960s, most black children grew up in two-parent homes. When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the black family. But one generation of the welfare state did. Moynihan was excoriated for pointing this out.
1965,
the
Moynihan Report. That's right, yes. The Moynihan Report.
What is so people that took this as a way of putting down blacks. What they don't understand was that one, Moynihan was a scholar who knew that his own group, the Irish Americans, had that very same problem at the beginning of the 20th century, and more importantly, Moynihan's own father deserted the. You find that married couple families were much more prevalent among blacks then than today. Most black kids grew up in homes with two parents under slavery itself and for generations thereafter. And as late as the 1960s, most black children grew up in two-parent homes. When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the black family, but one generation of the welfare state did. Moynihan was excoriated for pointing this out.
1965, the Moynihan Report. That's right, yes. The Moynihan Report.
What is so people that took this as a way of putting down blacks. What they don't understand was that one, Moynihan was a scholar who knew that his own group, the Irish Americans, had that very same problem at the beginning of the 20th century, and more importantly, Moynihan's own father deserted the.
Yes, and that's what was happening too, is that black men were deserting their families because they were given an excuse. You see, once the excuse was acceptable, then you saw it become popular because black men could just blame the white man now, whereas before he couldn't. You know, it was unheard of to say that the white man was keeping you from getting a job. That was unheard of. A man not working, like my grandfather, if he met a guy that didn't work, he was like less than human to my grand. Like he wasn't even a human being. Like my grandfather looked at people on welfare as like scum of the earth. Like he used to call them recipients. They wasn't even people. It was a whole separate category. Recipients. That's what he would call them, recipients. Thank you, Cruise Missile, for the super stick. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. Always support me. Thank you so much. Vintage Goods Willie, always supporting. Me guys, get your assets to work. Right. Thank you, Vintage Goods Willie. Jerome B, thank you so much for the super sticker. Alethea, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Will Wait, hope all's doing well. Thank you, Blanch. Thank you so much, Will Wait. Thank you. Healthy Green Lifestyle. What do you think about Ibrahim Traore from Burkina Faso? I think you asked about him before. I gotta look him up because I heard him speak, and I feel like he's just another communist. Like he's just another liberation type of person. He's speaking about his country's independence, but I gotta listen to him speak because I question how he's ruling his country. I don't know him, but just based on what I see of him and what he said, he's the typical, corrupt leader. Not saying that he is, but he's the typical. He fits the prototype of that. But thank you so much, Healthy Green Lifestyle. And I'm not saying that he is. I just want to check. I'm gonna look into him though. Thank you all for moderating. Goddess Navi. Well, I think it's just you tonight, but thank you moderating. And anybody have any questions before I go? Prudence says, ain't it impossible to starve in the U.S. 2025? It might not be the best food, but that's just not the case, even in the biggest cities, if you're not a druggie. So having worked with the homeless population here in Atlanta, I can tell you right now that Atlanta, like many other major cities, is a food surplus city. It's a food surplus city. That means they have an overabundance of food to give to those that are hungry. If a person starves in a major city, it's called child abuse. If a child starves in a major city, it's child abuse. That's all. There's no children starving because there's so much food and so many food programs until it's insane. Come on now. It's not gonna happen. So any starving going on is by force or by choice. But it's not because there isn't any food. Um, Simulated students say, I don't think he's corrupt with ill intent, but he's a socialist. Yeah, I mean, again, I'll say this. When it comes to these leaders, I've never seen it work out right. Like I've never seen people with good intentions, but have these socialistic or communistic, ideologies and it work out. I just don't, because you always going to be met with human nature. And that's the difficulty with being a leader. Do you do what's best for the people, or do you do what the people want you to do? Most people choose to do what's best for them, but you got a choice to make. Do you do what's best for the people, or do you do what the people want you to do? And I think you always run into a problem. That's why, to me, leadership is almost a impossible task, because who are you appeasing? If you do what's right, they're gonna hate you. So you do what's wrong, they're gonna hate you. It's just you give them what they want and it goes wrong, they're gonna blame you. You do what's right and they don't get their emotions met, they're gonna blame. Like it's a lose lose. It's a lose lose. Chad, the government using starving children as a weapon to pass their destructive policies is downright satanic. And it is, Chad, because it's a lie. I've worked with many government agencies, and you wouldn't believe what these people get. It's insane. When I tell you a person, and I can speak for Atlanta, and Atlanta, in my opinion, is far less than New York and, let's say, Chicago or California when it comes to socialism. Now, I know in Atlanta, a child is not going to go hungry, without clothes, without nothing, nothing. All it takes is for a child to come to school too many times looking bad, and they're going to have a whole new wardrobe within the week. So, yeah. Paul. Listen, Paul, I'm getting my backdrop right, though, Paul. I'm getting it right. I'm getting it right, Paul. I'm getting it right. Some of the students say, I stopped hooping at LA Fitness and 24-hour fitness because the patrons have a certain mindset. I don't want to be around that. I feel you. Blanche, how many brunches do you pass by on the way to work? Countless. Countless. I'm gonna say this: Atlanta is the number one in brunches. I guarantee. If we did a survey, Atlanta is number one in brunches. Number one. Number one. All right, Nicodemus. I'll check out Nicodemus. I'll check it out. All right, y'all. Love y'all, and I will see y'all on what's today's Monday. Love y'all, and I'll see y'all. What was your question? Let me see. Oh, my room. Oh no, I'm just getting my office redone. That's all. I'm just gonna try to have it look nice. That's all. Just have it, look nice. Some stuff back there. Have it look more professional. I gotta come up. I got my camera. Chad sent me a camera. I got a camera ready. I got everything ready to go to have my show look a little more professional. But anyway, yeah, that's all. I'm just having it look nice in the back. Okay. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all. Y'all take care. Love y'all.